Hi, everyone. Welcome to SipAndCloud. We're happy that you are here. As you can see on my slide, it says Emihle Majeke's Kenny and AWS reading strategies. She's been nailing like the AWS certificates on LinkedIn, and we trust that it will impact other people and encourage all of us. I'm actually busy with my solutions architect associate. Oh my God, it's killing me. I think with the cloud practitioner, it was easy because I had AWS experts at the AWS Skill Center. But now this one, it's self-taught. You're teaching yourself. You have to go deep to all the material. And yeah, I think I need help. As the change agents and leaders, we do need to reach out for help. I encourage that. And we have to give back to the community as Emihle just did. If you want to be a speaker, you're welcome to join us. Thank you to Omani, who recommended you. Omani, all the way from Congo. He is one of the SipAndCloud team as we are hybrid. Distance is not a barrier indeed. Thank you so much. Welcome, Emihle, our special guest. I'll hand over to Emihle, and she will take us to a journey and AWS certifications winning strategy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pinky. Let me just bring up my slides and take it away. Righty, there we go. So as Pinky said, firstly, let me greet everybody. And thank you very much, guys, for attending. All those that managed to take time out of their busy schedule just to come and listen to what I have to share with everybody. And I just hope that whatever it is that I'm going to share right now with you, it's going to impact you in a way that is going to help you in your journey. So my name is Emihle Majeke, currently a technical instructor at Think Tank, and I'm super excited to be sharing with you guys my career evolution from school actually all the way to the current role that I'm occupying. So I'm just going to give you a brief. Like I said, that I'm going to be taking you all the way from school to the career role that I'm currently in right now. So I started off with a course. It is a 3-year course, NQF Level 4 in Tshwane South College. So it was an integration of networking, programming, systems analysis and design, as well as contact center operations. And then I managed to graduate top of my class because I've always been that one person that is very competitive, and my competition is just with myself. So whatever mark I got for this term, I would make sure that next term I go up and go up. So yeah, that is how I managed to graduate top of my class. And I later on participated in an international learnership which was hosted by MICT CETA. So it was an e-business internship in Hangzhou with a qualification of a 3. It was a 3-year qualification at Tshwane South College, which was an integration of programming, systems analysis, networking, as well as contact center. And then I later went to Hangzhou, whereby it was an MICT CETA sponsored program. I did e-business, and then later got a role at Oryx Constructors, where I was a field technician. And then in that role, I managed to participate in server migration. I'm not sure if you got that. So I wasn't really migrating the server, but I was work shadowing the technician that was migrating the servers then, because I didn't have enough skills to do the migration itself. So I was work shadowing, and then he just took me through the steps that he was doing throughout the migration. And then right after that role, I got pregnant, and then I had to stay at home for some time. And then while I was at home, that's when I started looking for something that I can be able to do while I am raising the child, because when it's your first baby, you sort of like want to be there for them every day. So I wanted something that will work for me in terms of being able to raise my kid and improve my career as well. And then I went to LinkedIn. That's where I looked for that role, which is going to lead me to my next slide. So as I was looking for the next job, I saw a poster and then it was all about ITpreneurship. So I didn't know what really is ITpreneurship, but then either way I applied because I saw that it was work from home. So I was like, so if I'm going to work from home, let me apply for this. I applied for it, and then there was training involved. I was like, oh, okay, training. What is it all about? And then that's where they introduced AWS. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. What is AWS? At that point, that was back in 2021. At that point, I had no idea of what 2022, sorry, it was back in 2022. At that time, I had no idea what AWS was, but then I was willing to learn in as much as I was willing to figure it out, because I had no idea what it was. I was like, okay, I'm just going to figure it out as I go, and I'll just be open to learning. So I took the role, and first things first, there was cloud practitioner. Yeah, we had to prepare for a cloud practitioner. And then when I got into it, because cloud practitioner, basically it just is, it teaches you basics in cloud. So it was like basic migrations. That's when I started becoming interested, because remember, in my previous role, I got to participate in server migrations. So I was really interested to say, oh, okay, so now if you are telling me that everything that I was doing on site, I can be able to do in cloud, and by cloud, you mean like from my laptop, from home? Okay, that is interesting. So I started learning there, and because it was something new to me, and like I said, I am very competitive. I always want to become better than yesterday. I told myself that, you know what, you're going to have to dig deeper. I went to Google. That was like the first place I went to Google. I had to search AWS, cloud, and each and every resource that I got, I made use of it. I came across AWS Educate. I just hope that you guys have something that you just jotting down things from, because I'll be sharing some platforms that can be helpful to you. So yeah, I got things such as AWS Educate, resources such as Skill Builder, and I got to see white papers, and then I was like really not sure as to how everything like works together, but then I was willing to just try everything out to make sure that I get the certificate. So yeah, I did my own research. In as much as we were trained, I did my own research. I did my own learning outside the training, and I went and wrote the exam September 2022. And then when I went to write the exam, I remember on the day I left my baby. Remember, I was doing all of that with my baby. At that time, she was still a very, very young baby, or she was a kid. And yeah, I was doing everything with her. And when I had to go and write, I had to leave her with my neighbor. I went and write the exam, left her crying her lungs out. But I didn't like allow that to get into my mind. I just told myself that, you know what, I'm going to remain into this exam zone that I'm in, because every time I'm preparing for an exam, I just zone out into that exam zone. Everything I do revolves around that certification that I'm preparing for. So yeah, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to zone out. I'm just going to continue focusing and then go write the exam and see what happens afterwards. I went, I wrote, and by then you would get like your results immediately after writing. And after, excited and looking forward to the next thing. And at that time, I didn't have someone who was going to take me through the certification. Certification comes next, and what is it all about? But then again, that didn't stop me. I told myself that, you know what, I don't have anybody, it's fine. I'm just gonna try and figure it out on my own. I came back, and on that role that I was occupying at the time, they told us that at the end of the contract, they're going to place us with into different companies, right? So yeah, the contract came to an end, and they set up interviews for us. And I went to that interview. I was not sure as to am I cloud equipped enough for me to go into that interview. But then I told myself that, you know what, just with everything that you've got, just go in there. And remember, I used a multiple of resources while I was preparing for cloud practitioner. So the knowledge that I got, it wasn't really like around cloud practitioner only, but it was so general because I went through Skills Builder, whereby I was like doing projects, like exploring with AWS. So I already had an idea of, already had created a free tier as well. So most of the things I already had an idea of what they are and how they work in terms of AWS. And then I went to the interview. I managed to pass it. And then when I got them, they told us that the first 6 months it's going to be training, and then later on it's going to be project in DevOps. Super, super excited and looking forward to it. I got there, I was like, oh, okay, I'm not sure if what should come next after cloud practitioner. I only have cloud practitioner. And they told me that, no, there's different roles. There's role for DevOps, and that's like developers. But because I had a bitter experience with programming back in tertiary, where I was doing my NQF level 4, I was like, I'm not sure if I want to go into developing. They're like, oh, okay, definitely not DevOps. We have solutions architect. I was like, oh, okay, solutions architect, what is it all about? They told me that, no, they work closely related with your migrations, your AWS environment. And I was like, oh, okay, now that sounds interesting, because I'm interested in server migrations. I've done them before, and I would like to explore further on them. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Then solutions architect should be the one that you go for. I prepared for my solutions architect. Can't really remember. I tried to trace back, but then I ran out of time as to when I got the solutions architect associate. I went and wrote it and managed to pass it at first attempt. Also, while preparing for it, I dived deep into the resources that I already had, and I started looking out for more. And I remember that's where I got introduced to who is this guy, Neil Davis. That's where I got introduced to Neil Davis. He's got a platform called Digital Cloud, if I'm not mistaken. And I used that platform. He's got white papers on that platform. I used each and everything. One thing about me, like I said, when I prepare for that certificate, I don't just rely on the limited resources that I get or that I have at that time. I always look out for more. And I never feel like I'm ready until I'm seated in the exam room. So yeah, that's just how I work with this. And yeah, I prepared for it. With that one, I just didn't do any labs or anything. I remember I last did labs when I was preparing for cloud practitioner on Skills Builder. So for solutions architect, I didn't really do labs other than setting up an EC2 instance, which is something that I did while I was preparing for cloud practitioner. So when I was preparing for solutions architect, I figured out that most things that are lab related are things that I did when I was preparing for cloud practitioner, which was like way ahead. But yeah, I prepared for it. I went and I wrote it first time. Felt very, very confident. Very, very confident. I was like, oh, okay, now I got this, and on to the next certificate, which was SysOps. And I gotta sip some water for that one, because yeah,
Cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheers. Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, as excited as I was for the next certificate, I didn't know what SysOps is going to bring next. But I prepared for it like I always do. Say, oh, okay, so I'm gonna do SysOps. Let me just gather all the resources and see how it goes. I did just that, and I prepared for it same way I prepared for the past 2 exams. And SysOps is all about administration in cloud, your CloudWatch logs, your VPC flow logs. It's just all the administration of your cloud environment. And yeah, I wasn't ready for that one. I prepared. And like I said, that I only feel ready. I only not really feel ready. I only believe that I'm ready when I'm seated on that exam chair. So yeah, I prepared for it, and it was time for us to book an exam. I was like, okay, ready or not, here I come. We booked for the exam, and I went and wrote it. Did I not get 718? And I was supposed to get 720. Pass mark was 720. I got 718. I was so mad with myself. I was so mad. I remember, I was frustrated more than anything. And I remember at that time it was towards the AWS summit. Like I said, that I always look out for things. I'm such a researcher. I always like snoop. So as I was snooping, I saw that AWS has this event, which is a summit. I attended one last year, which was my very first one, and I got this very first one. It was 2024. I got those bottles, super excited, and it was such an exciting event. I won't lie. So I had prepared for that one. Yeah, that 2023. I was ready for it. I saw it. I registered, and I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to it. And it was going to be the first one after COVID, and the first one in Johannesburg, because previously they held them in Cape Town. I was super excited for it. But then SysOps was like, no, you're sitting this one out. I failed that exam. I was so frustrated and I made it myself. But then I told myself that, you know what, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to give this another try. I remember after AWS gives you 14 days before you can schedule for the next exam, be it a rewrite, actually, not for the next exam. They give you 14 days period before you can schedule another exam for a rewrite. I prepared on that 14 days. I prepared. And then right at the end of it, I think it was a week before the summit. So I booked the exam. The exam was going to be on a Monday. And then the summit was on a Thursday previous week. I was like, oh, okay, do I go Thursday on the summit and then come back, bury myself in books? I was like, no. What I saw on that exam, I'm not going to see it again. You know what? I'm just going to sit the summit out, and I'm just going to give this exam my all. So a take from that experience was that if it's something that you want, you're going to have to go against all odds. If it's something that you want, you're going to have to shut each and everything that is going to become a blocker between you and that exam that you want to pass. So yeah, I stayed the summit out. I prepared. I went and write, and yeah, I got it. Super excited. Also, that was in September, and then I started preparing for solutions architect, and then I had
A giant.
yeah, and I heard people saying, yeah, what you're going for next? Because remember, I told them that I'm interested in solutions architect. So how I ended up doing SysOps was after passing the exam, I went to my executive then to say, I passed solutions associate, but I'm not sure if I'm ready for professional, because I heard that it is the giant, it is the most difficult exam. So I want something that is going to equip me. I want something that is going to give me more knowledge, so that when I go to professional, I know that I have a solid background. And then that's when he advised me to go for SysOps. And yeah, that was a giant on its own also. And yeah, back to solutions architect. So yeah, I prepared from September 2023. Remember, I wrote SysOps September 2023. So I used October, November, December, January. 4 months. I used 4 months building on the knowledge that I acquired from the two associates that I got in that 4 months. And I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I can go and attempt it. I'm like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm sure. I'm 100. I went and attempted the exam. At that time, the role that I was in, it was EEIP. So there's this program called EEIP. It works closely with startups. And what they do is that they give you an internship. So it's a 12-month program. And yeah, I was in that EEIP program. And I forgot that the t-shirt that I'm wearing right now, I'm not sure if you can see it, but yeah.
DevOps.
Well, yes, because it was a DevOps role. After passing associate, solutions architect associate, Xenia Road, there's a lady by the name Xenia Rhodes. He came to our company and he was like, I gotta come in person and congratulate you guys. And I'm bringing in some merch. Super excited. So yeah,
Some swag.
yeah, it was really exciting and encouraging. So back to solutions in February 2024, when I attempted it for the first time and failed. right after failing it, I always say each and every failure comes with challenges. I won't lie, it comes with challenges. Failing that exam, we were approaching AWS awards. These awards, and like I said, I am very competitive, guys. My biggest competitor is myself. I'm always competing with myself. Each and everything that I get as a recognition, I always want to get more. And yeah, so there were awards that were going on, and they were like, so on those awards we're going to be awarding yeah, on those awards we're going to be awarding the EEIP participants that managed to get professional certificates. I bit myself. I was like, why did I fail this exam? Because now I was going to be on those awards and I was going to get recognition. Oh, I bit myself for that failure. But then I never really take failure as blocking as something that is going to block me, also as something that discourages me. It really doesn't discourage me. Instead it's just fuel to my fire. Every time I fail, I just come back super excited and just with big guns to say, okay, you know what, I attempted this with these guns and it didn't work. I'm bringing in bigger guns right now. So yeah, I failed first attempt. I went back. I studied. I remember I wanted to write in April. That was in Feb. I studied. I was like, okay, I'm going to attempt rewrite in April. I prepared. March, a huge life surprise hit me. So I shared a story on LinkedIn. That was my mom getting diagnosed with life-threatening diagnosis. Let me just put it that way. It was just a life-threatening diagnosis. I was not ready for it. It just took me by a storm. It shut down everything, literally everything. I tried to study. It just didn't work. I was like, oh, okay, I think it's high time that I take a step back and just focus on her health. And right after that, focus on my health, because that just didn't take a toll on me in terms of just preparing for the exam, but it took a toll on my mental health as well. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take a step back. But then one thing about life, it doesn't stop when you do. It doesn't stop when you do. July came, and then another life surprise came. The company that I was with at the time, they had to let us go due to financial crisis and stuff. They're like, oh, okay, guys, we're gonna let you go. I was not ready for that one. I was like, oh, okay, I just don't know what I'm going to do. I'm out here trying to focus on myself, trying to refocus, because everything that just happened, it really derailed me. It took me off guard and I was just not ready for it. And right now I'm out here, trying to figure things out, because at the end of the day, like I said, I'm a mom. I gotta make means to make sure that I bring food on the table. I got rent to pay because now I'm staying on my own. I got rent to pay. I've got all these expenses with no job. What do I do now? That was July. And then August came. I was still throwing pity party, unfortunately. September came, still in that pity party. But then a thing came to me mid-September to say, for how long are you going to throw this pity party? I mean, like, you've got multiple qualifications that you can make use of and get a role. So another thing I want to bring is, I'm tapping into that, is that negativity brings more negativity. So the more you allow negativity, be it you just failed an exam or what, the more you allow negativity in your life, the more negativity you're going to attract. So I was like, you know what, I need to step out of this negativity. I need to step into something positive. I started going back into doing labs. I started going back into doing projects. I did projects. They are posted there on my LinkedIn. You can just go and check right after this. I started doing hands-on projects. And as I was doing that, something came to mind. I was like, oh, okay, how about I draft an email? I know that I've been like sending, apply. But how about now I send an email for a role that doesn't exist? But then I tell them that, you know what, can you grant me an opportunity into this role? So yeah, that's why I sent my current employer. an email to say, hi, I am Emihle Majeke, and these are the qualifications that I had. And in the program that I was on, which is the EEIP program, one thing I discovered is that I really love helping others with the knowledge around AWS, because I always absorb. So in as much as I absorb, I really love spreading out, sharing. So I was like, because you're a training company, I can really be of help. How about you grant me a role? And on top of that, I am preparing for my solutions architect professional. And remember, I last attempted it in Feb. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to mention it on the email that I am preparing for solutions architect professional. And then they replied to my email. They're like, oh, okay, how about you come for an interview? I knew it. One thing about me, I apply. The minute I get that interview, I just know that it's done, because I don't go there to play. I go there to make sure that I get the role, because I think I've already like mastered how interviews work. The only thing that they have is your CV. So the questions that they're going to be asking you, they're going to be around your CV. So if you know what is on your CV, it's easy to master that interview. And if you really know what you were doing in your previous roles, it's really easy to master that interview, which is another tip that I would like to share with you. So yeah, I got the interview and I was like, you know what? I got this role. I went to the interview. I did my level best, and I got a call back to say, nah, you got the role. And yeah, I got to work, and they were like, so you told us on the interview and in your CV that in the email that you are preparing for solutions professional. When are you willing to write? And I knew that I can't delay it any further, because I told them that I am preparing to write. I didn't say I'm just studying. I was like, I'm preparing to write. So I was like, no, I can write anytime. They're like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah. And they gave me a period of like 3 weeks to study.
Wow.
I was not ready for that one, but because of the projects that I was doing, which is really, really, really important, because in as much as you can learn about something, doing it really embeds the information in your mind. So I was like, oh, okay, 3 weeks, let me go back. I went back to studying. I gave it my all. And luckily, I managed to score a 4th week. And yeah, I prepared for the exam for like 4 weeks, doing my level best, sleepless nights. And yeah, I was just doing everything that I can. And I went and wrote it. To my surprise, I passed it. Oh my God, you have no idea how I cried that night. I cried out. I was like, this is so unbelievable. I didn't really think that I would get it, but here I am. And going on to the next one, which was this month. Oh, wow. That was quick. Going on to the next one, which was the developer associate. And like I said, when I'm preparing, I don't just focus on that exam, because there's somehow these services are intertwined. So when I learn of a service and I see that it somehow connects with another service, I go and check out that service as well, which is where white papers and documentation comes in place. Go check that service and then see how it works. If I see that I don't have time to do all the labs, I quickly go to YouTube, and in YouTube, you know that you can fast forward, but then you get to see how it works, and you get to see how the end result become. So yeah, I prepared. That was November, I passed, and then December I was like, okay, I'm going to prepare for developer quickly. But December came, you know how December is, and I didn't do anything. January came, I was like, you know what? You need to go back, because you promised yourself that you're going to write in January developer. January, I started preparing for developer, and it wasn't really much of a challenge, I won't lie. I think that's because of all the knowledge that I've built. And I went and wrote developer. I got it, and immediately after passing it, like I said, I'm very competitive. I saw early adopter batch that the period for it was up to 15 February. So on that Thursday, I wrote my developer. It was a Thursday. I passed it, and I told myself that, you know what, next week Thursday, it's going to be 14 November. Let me go and write AI practitioner. And if I fail, it's fine, because there's a free retake, which is something that you need to look out for each and every time, the free retakes, because there's quite a lot of free retakes here and there in AWS. So make use of those. I was like, okay, now that there's a free retake, let me go and attempt it. I took a week to prepare for AI practitioner, which is insane. But yeah, after that week, I went and wrote, and I got it. And right now I'm preparing for my next step, which is authorized instructor for AWS, the role that I applied for, which didn't exist for me, because for you to be an instructor in AWS, you have to have that badge. You have to have that what do you call it? Pardon?
I'm saying authorized instructor.
Yes, you have to be authorized. Yes, that's the term I was looking for. You have to be authorized for you to be an instructor. So on to my, which is yeah, that's it for my certification journey. And this is something that I touched base on much when I was talking about the certification, the labs and the studying. So they go hand in hand. There is no like if I do just labs, I'll be fine, I'll be good to go. Or if I just study, I'll be fine, I'll be good to go. So what happens is you need to prepare, you need both the knowledge and skills for you to be 100% competent. So don't just focus on one, like balance the both. So how I often do it is I'll start with studying, which like both a foundation for me. And then after studying and getting to know all these services, I'll go on and do labs. So there are multiple platforms that you can use in terms of labs. There's Skill Builder. On Skill Builder, there's free labs that you can get. There is AWS workshops. On workshops, there's also some labs that you can do. And above and beyond, you can just search on different platforms such as dev platforms. I think they do have labs on dev. That's where it's a platform where developers share, more like documenting their journey. So they'll be like sharing the labs that they did. You can take from those, and their boot camps. There's like literally multiple resources that you can make use of in terms of labs. And in terms of studying, it's the ones that I mentioned that I use for my studying. And on to the next one, which is the exam tips. If I may quickly sip on the SipAndCloud session that I'm supposed to.
Yes.
So I'll touch on the exam tips. First one being flag and review. This is something that I do all the time. I remember after writing, it was the solutions professional. Yeah, it was the solutions professional. When on the attempt whereby I passed, I told them going to work following day that, you know what, I've never been so anxious about an exam like I did with the exam that I wrote yesterday, because I flagged more than 50% of the questions. And that's just scary for me, because most of the time, not really most of the time, every time I flag the questions that I'm not sure about, I flag the questions that I don't know at all, because there'll be questions that you don't know at all. You feel like, okay, you know what, on this one, I'm just going to have to guess. But you can't just guess. You have to guess from something. So I flag such questions as well. And yeah, flag and review, it really, really, really works best, because you don't want to waste time on that one question trying to figure it out, and only to find out that there'll be questions that are much easier for you going forth, and then you end up running out of time before you can get into those questions. So what I'll always do, every question that I feel like, okay, this one I'm positive about, I know this one, I do it. And everyone that I feel, every question that I feel like I'm not sure about this one, or I really don't know this one, I flag it, and then I later on go for review. And then use keywords. So these exams they are structured in a sense that they will have keywords. If you can just hold on a bit for me. Alrighty, sorry about that, guys. So I was on keywords. These exams, they are structured in a sense that they have keywords, right? So what would happen that the first thing on the exam would be a scenario to say we've got company ABC, ne? And this company is looking forward to doing 1, 2, and 3. And then the last thing will be another keyword for you, whereby they'll say maybe which solution will be minimalistic, or which solution will be less expensive. So yeah, I always do that. So the first part of the question, which is more like a context as to question A, B, and C, you look at it, okay, fine, bonus. you move on, and then you look at the scenario whereby now they are telling you that the solution that you have to solve to say, okay, they want to migrate, for instance, they want to migrate their clouds to server, they want to migrate their servers to cloud, right? And then they will tell you, let's say on that scenario, they will mention the amount of data that they have. Find out it's a huge data, right? And then on the last keyword that you'll find is that they need to do it in a list admin. In it, I'm not sure how they phrase it, but with list admin, right? And then on the okay, that's it for the keywords. Which is going to link on the next point of a process of elimination. So when you go to your options, right, I always use process of elimination. So you got the scenario, the one that I just explained. And then now when you get to the options that you get, that's where you look for solutions for migration, right? Bearing in mind the large data. So you already know that, okay, if it's large data, if you're going to have to do it online, it's going to impose latency, right? And let's say they did mention latency, and you already look in your options that, okay, I'm going to have to eliminate everything that will bring latency, everything that will introduce latency. I'm just going to have to eliminate it. And then that might lead you somehow to, oh, how did I forget the resource? Because I wanted to make this example. Now I forget the resource.
It's okay. You can go through and use study guide.
Yeah, it's AWS snow. Oh,
Snowmobile. Yes.
yes, thank you. And then you already know that, okay, chances are you're gonna have to use a snowball, and yeah, that's it on process of elimination. Always eliminate the services that you know they're in conflict with what's on your keywords. And then again, use mock exams. I always use mock exams because it sort of gives you the feel of being in the exam room. It also gives you that edge to say, okay, if I got 90 minutes for this exams, am I going to be able to manage to do it under that 90 minutes, or am I going to be pressured? Is the 90 minutes going to be less for me, right? And then that way you get to see where you stand with the exams. And lastly, do not panic. Do not panic, because panic is just going to distract you. Like, you will forget snowball like I did right now. So don't panic. Don't panic. Just breathe. When you get there, do a little bit of breath exercising and you'll be good to go. And lastly, which is outside the examinations, more like for your career journey, I would say form part of community like the one, SipAndCloud, because it's going to give you support and motivation. You're not always going to have motivation. Life will pose challenges like it did to myself. But then if you are part of a community, that's where you'll get motivation to go forward, motivation to push against all odds, and knowledge sharing. You're not going to always know everything. There's something that someone knows that you don't know. So in community, you get a lot of knowledge and mentorship and guidance. In community, there will always be someone who is like a step ahead of you, and that someone can be able to guide you in terms of not making the same mistakes as they did. And networking and opportunities, very, very good, because some opportunities you might miss, but then if you're part of a community, something that's you didn't come across, someone came across, they can be able to share with you, and that way you get more opportunities, and they also build confidence and growth. And that was my last slide. Thank you very much, and I'll open up for Q&A, and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Emihle Majeke, and the projects that I did, they are there on GitHub. It's Emihle M2. Not that I love BMW M2, but I do. But the M came the two came out of, I don't know. And then lastly, I have some articles that I've posted on Medium. Every time I prepare for an exam, I sort of like get the edge to share, to say, oh, so the service works like this. Every time I do a lab, I get the edge to share, to say, oh, so this is how this works. So I just share on Medium. And another positive thing about that is that so I saw this program with the AWS Community Builder, and in as much as I love being part of a community, and I always say that people should be part of a community, there is a community builder program on AWS. And for the one of the requirements for you to become part of that program is that you should have a platform whereby you share knowledge with others. So I was like, okay, in as much as I love sharing, if there's a benefit for it, let me just go ahead and continue with it. So that's it. That's it from me. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Emihle. You didn't put a section for Q&A.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to do it hand in hand with the with the presentation, but I knew that somehow I'm just going to lose train of thought.
Okay. To the audience, if you guys have a question, you can just unmute yourself and ask a question to Emihle. You're welcome. Yes.
Good evening, guys.
Hi, brother.
Can you hear
Tobo,
me?
how are you?
Good,
Yes,
thanks,
we
India.
hear loud and clear.
Nice presentation, Emihle. May I kindly ask if I want to transition to these cloud roles, is it always the case to start with the cloud practitioner?
For that, I would say to build a basic foundation, it is advised that you start with a cloud practitioner, because a cloud practitioner, it's not just about a specific certificate. It covers AWS in general, the best principles, be it you're going to be in security, developing, or solutions architect. It just covers the basics. So it's going to lay a basic foundation for you. And then in terms of the role that you want to do, that's where the associate level defines, right? To say if you want to be a developer, you can go for DevOps. And then with developing, I believe that with AI taking place right now, a lot of developers are participating in AI. So you can do AI practitioner as well. It can be of a benefit for you. And then if you want to break into a role of solutions architect, you are advised to do a solutions architect associate. And then if you just want to do admin, which is like taking care of AWS environment, you're not building anything, you're just taking care of the environment whereby you've already built on it, you can do SysOps. Then there is also learning for those that love data-driven roles, for the data-driven roles. I can put it that way. I'm not sure if that answered you correctly.
Maybe
Yes,
to jump in a bit,
thank you.
he's a software developer, so he's asking in relation to the developer.
Developer.
Yes.
Great. Then DevOps, it is really something that you should do. DevOps, developer associate and DevOps, they're going to be an advantage for you. And the content, it has labs as well. So those labs are going to build projects for you to break into the role.
On like the developer exam, do you do hands-on, or it's multiple questions and multiple responses?
Okay, with all the exams that I did, it's just multiple choice questions. Yes, it's just multiple choice questions, no projects, no labs on them.
There is a comment from Mosana. Hi guys, I can't open my mic. I'm in traffic. Not necessarily a question, but a comment. I've been blessed to have shared 12 months working alongside you, and just have to mention how your dedication and hard work is inspiring. Keep being you, Emmy.
Thank you very much, Musana. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much for such comments. It's so nice to get such feedback from all over the world, because you were recommended by Obani, who's from Congo as well. He's one of the SipAndCloud team. Thank you so much, guys.
Study
Exam
guides.
guides, I mean, Yes.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. Exam guides, definitely, because they sort of like give you the resources that are covered in that exam. However, I
Yes.
barely rely much on them because, like I said, I always want to get more knowledge. So if one service leads to the next, even though the service might not be covered on the exam, I look out for it. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm not sure. I don't see any hands up, but I will have another question again. So, when you go write your exam, do you prefer the writing center, or you do it at home or by your office and stuff?
I always prefer test center. Simply
Okay.
because at home the disadvantage might be your bandwidth. You know, with our network, you can never really rely on it, and if anything jinxes
Yes.
that exam, yeah, it's over for you. You're just gonna have to rewrite. And writing in the office, I always feel like, okay, I avoid being asked questions after exam to say, so how did it go? So I just
Oh,
want to go to a test center right after that, and test center is in CBD. After writing, I
yes.
just go for shopping. That's just how I do, just to keep everything, because I told you, good, I zone in that exam zone. So after writing, I just want to zone out. I go to window shopping or shopping if I have money.
Okay. I hope your mom is doing well after
She
the
is,
incident.
she is doing amazing. She is doing amazing through God's help. She is absolutely in good health right now. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you for that.
Is there any chance that you can mentor someone, put a pressure to them, let them book like the exam and go right?
Definitely. Definitely,
Okay.
definitely. I love working with others, and I believe that empowering the next person doesn't take away from you. So I love,
Yes.
love, love doing that. If there is an opportunity for me to do it, it's more than welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think that's all. We'll share the recordings on LinkedIn. And thank you so much for doing this for us and impacting others.
Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you very
Thank you so
much.
much,
Thank
everyone, for joining. Happy Cloud, happy explorers.
you.
Have a
Yay.
blessed week. Bye.
Cheers, everybody. Bye.